It's October 18th, 2023. It's birthday week. Wait, for you, Columbo? It's This Week in Comics. Hello everyone and welcome to October 18th, This Week in Comics. I'm your bumbling guy, Dustin Dry. I get it wrong just as much as I get it right. We've got a bunch of number ones to get to, a bunch of ongoing series to get to. It's a big week. Let's go. Justice League vs. Godzilla vs. Kong, written by Brian Buccellato. Brian's best known for his work on The Flash, The Exterminators, Injustice, Hellblazer, Ghost Rider, Cannibal, and plenty of others. With art by Christian Deuce. Christian is best known for his art on The Flash, I Am Batman, and plenty of cover art. With art by Luis Guerrero. Luis is best known for The Flash, Robin, Punchline, Blue Beetle, plus he's a good cover artist as well. Alrighty guys, this event kicks off with Clark on the verge of asking Lois to marry him. However, the Legion of Doom has other plans. They break into the Fortress of Solitude and they accidentally motherbox their way to Skull Island. There, Gorilla Grodd meets Kong and a desperate toy man makes a desperate wish that results in the Monsterverse invading the DC universe. Now guys, this is actually a great event book. It moves the pieces where they need to be. It's a great number one in terms of really setting up the story with some stakes while including all the major players involved. Justice League vs. Godzilla vs. Kong number one is an 8 out of 10. Jay Garrick's The Flash, written by Jeremy Adams. Adams is known for his current run on The Flash as well as Green Lantern, Flashpoint Beyond, plus a bunch of Dark Crisis tie-ins. With art by Diego Orlategui. Diego's best known for his work on Slapstick, X-23, Aquaman the Becoming, plus a bunch of covers as well. With art by Luis Guerrero as well. Luis's credentials are on the Godzilla vs. Kong review. Jay and Judy go to save Joan while in 1963. However, she disappears and no one remembers her until she returns 60 years later to the present day. While in the present day, she goes to stop a bank robbery but is scolded by Jay. She asks him what happened to Dr. Elemental, the villain that they were investigating when she disappeared. However, Jay had forgotten Dr. Elemental until she reminded him right then and there, leaving him still at large. I love time travel stories and I've loved the new Golden Age so far. The art fits the story and the story is the right mix of action, heart, and sadness. And as a number one, it shows what's needed and that's what you ask for. Jay Garrick The Flash number one is an 8 out of 10. The Sensational SheHulk number one, written by Rainbow Rowell. Rainbow's best known for Runaways, her other run on She-Hulk, plus a bunch of anthology stories. With art by Andres Genolet. Andres worked with her on Runaways, She-Hulk, plus a bunch of covers as well. And Dee Cunniffe. Dee's best known for the work on The Wicked and the Divine, Paper Girls, Crossover, She-Hulk, plus plenty of other covers. Read the blurb at the start of the issue because that is the best exposition to get. However, Jen and Jack are working on their relationship right now and how exactly it's going to work with the radiation and his absorption powers. Jen takes a case representing some deviants and she also has a meeting with her Punch Club. However, at the end of the episode, regular Hulk shows up and asks her what she wants. This comic had great art and I really wasn't sure what I was getting into, but I found it to be super funny. It's a number one that's a continuation of the volume before it, but it actually does an expert job of explaining the status quo, establishing the way this comic is going to go, and moving forward with new stories. Sensational SheHulk number one is an 8.5 out of 10. Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees number one, written and drawn by Patrick Horvath. Patrick's best known for writing the issue Haha number 4 and drawing a variant for Ice Cream Man number 15. Otherwise, this is one of his first works. In a world of anthropomorphic animals, Sam is a simple brown bear who lives in a little small town. However, the citizens of this small town don't know, but for the last 40 years, she's been traveling to the city, kidnapping people, and murdering them because she's a serial killer. However, when somebody murders another citizen of her small town and the police start to investigate, she knows she must solve the case, otherwise her crimes risk being exposed. It's a dark and twisted tale, which is what it needed to be, especially being equal parts creepy and cute. Horvath is introducing you to a new world in this number one, and he does it so well. It's familiar, yet it's different. Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees number one is an 8.5 out of 10. Crypt of Shadows number one. Now this is Marvel's Halloween themed issue, so I'm going to touch on each story. Brick by Brick, written by Steve Orlando with art by Paul Azaceta. Now in this story, a murder house starts murdering its victims and is able to manifest itself into an actual person as long as there's a brick there. Wanda cleanses a house but misses misses a brick, and that means the bricklayer will return. This was an okay Halloween story, and I'm curious where the bricklayer is going to return and what it's going to mean. Brick by Brick is a 7 out of 10. The Living and the Dead, written by Kevin Scott with art by Dumala Pramanik and Niraj Menon. In this issue, Encanto battles Zeta, a necromancer who is trying to raise the army of the dead. Luckily, Encanto gets an assist from Deadpool, who is there on his own mission from the Order of Necromancers. It's funny, it's action-packed, it's Halloween-themed, it's what I want out of an issue like this. The Living and the Dead is an 8 out of 10. Without Fear, written by Declan Shalvey with art by Alex Linz and Matt Mila. In this story, the Hand have been attacking Matt all night, and as they descend further and further into the city, they run into Man-Thing, who offers the Man Without Fear an assist. Action, heart, great character work, a super short story. Without Fear is an 8 out of 10. A Soul Worth Hunting, written by Sarah Gailey with art by Adair Macias, Jonas Trindade, and Michael Wiggum. In this story, Kraven has captured Hulk, but luckily Jack, our werewolf by night, stumbles upon them. Hulk and Jack team up to kick Kraven's ass, and Hulk reveals to Jack that he doesn't hate the beast within, and maybe Jack needs to learn to accept the beast within. It's a pretty cool team up and fight, but it's super short. Soul Worth Saving is a 7.5 out of 10. Out of the Shadows, written by Al Ewing with art by Paul Davidson and Rain Barreto. For this, Al has Victor Strange tell us the 4 main stories before a reveal on the final page that he can escape the mirror world he's been trapped in. I'm not sure the implications this will mean for Steven or any of the ongoing series involving him. However, Crypt of Shadows number 1 overall is an 8 out of 10. Hexagon Bridge number 2, written and drawn by Richard Blake. The crazy world of the series is further expanded upon as Adley links with Stodden, an AI program that's going to help her search the bridge for her parents. Weird dreams and manifestations are plaguing Adley as they are making their final preparations for her and Stodden to actually enter the bridge. This comic book is equal parts bizarre, heart-wrenching, sci-fi driven, hope driven. It's got so many crazy scenes, such great art in it. It's everything I want out of an independent comic. This is a logical number 2 out of 5 in that it takes the next step forward while still asking some questions. Hexagon Bridge number 2 is an 8.5 out of 10. Green Lantern War Journal number 2, written by Philip Kennedy Johnson with art by Montos and Alex Guimarães. In this issue, John goes to Metropolis to interview at Steelworks in hopes that his mom wants to move back to Metropolis. On the train back home, John and the train are attacked by a Revenant Queen infected Varan and other Green Lanterns, who then in turn infect John. The art and the story are all building, and I'm curious where all of this Green Lantern stuff is going. Green Lantern War Journal number 2 is a 7.5 out of 10. Daredevil number 2, written by Saladin Ahmed, with art by Aaron Cooter and Jesus Abertov. In this issue, Matt and the church are visited by the police, who are investigating some disturbing rumors that have been reported online. Matt is pissed, so he sets out in anger, throwing on the devil costume and stops a shootout in the middle of the street. However, he soon realizes that Ben Urich, his friend, is the one reporting all these nasty rumors online. Is he possessed like Elektra was in the first issue? There's some restrained storytelling here, which is what you need in an ongoing series, and the art is beyond phenomenal. Daredevil number 2 is an 8.5 out of 10. Avengers Inc. number 2, written by Al Ewing with art by Leonard Kirk and Alex Sinclair. In this issue, Janet invites Victor to lunch so that him and Vision can meet. While there, they realize that there's a ghost killing people in the Avengers Mansion Hotel. The three set about solving the case. They find a spy master group, there's a tease to Valhalla. Honestly, guys, this issue was pretty enjoyable. The art was unfinished or unrefined. That's kind of what I was thinking to start, but I really have gotten into this book a little bit. I can't put my finger on it. I don't know if it's because I like law procedurals or things like that and superhero stuff, but Avengers Inc. number 2 is an 8 out of 10 for me. Big Game number 4, written by Mark Millar with art by Pepe Larraz and Giovanna Nero. Mindy is 65 million years in the past, but she's in a weird alternate version of the past where there's a princess, a ruler, supreme technology, but none of that exists in our present. She gets captured but escapes, and while Wesley kills all the remaining superheroes, he does fear that there's something else looming. Meanwhile, the Magic Order, while they want to interfere, or some of them want to interfere, they still choose not to. They do not interfere in human affairs. That's when the spaceships of the past arrive in the future. Now, guys, I'm not always sure what's going on in this series because I haven't read of all Millar's stuff, but wow, is it grand in scope, and it is done really, really well. I have been supremely entertained so far, but I'm going to knock a few points against it because I feel like the ending is going to feel a little rushed next issue. Big Game number 4 is still an 8 out of 10. Titans number 4, written by Tom Taylor with art by Nicola Scott and Annette Quall.
walk.
Gar decides he wants to help more than just punching bad guys in the face, so the team decides to go to Borneo to help plant some trees. Unfortunately, they're met by the Demolition Squad. Waller wants the Titans to anger the public, so she doesn't order Peacemaker to do anything, and she has her team stay back. Meanwhile, the team wants to save Wally, who's still set to die in 24 hours, so they send him to their trophy room, which is located on Mars. They send Linda with Wally, but little do they know, Tempest infected her with whatever he's infected with, and now Wally is in danger while locked in the trophy room. This book has had consistently great art, and as the story moves forward as an ongoing series, it's really building upon itself really well. Titans number 4 is an 8 out of 10.
City Boy number 5, written by Greg Pak with art by Minku Jung, Mike Choi, and Sebastian Chang.
In this issue, Cameron meets Swamp Thing, who reveals to him that his mother died a while ago. Upset and angry, Cam actually starts manipulating the environment with the animal cities around him, much to the dismay of Swamp Thing and much to the pleasure of the professor. This series has great art, and with one issue left, I'm curious where the story's going to go and where Cam fits in the big picture of the DC universe. City Boy number 5 is an 8 out of 10.
The Incredible Hulk number 5, written by Philip Kennedy Johnson with art by Travel Foreman and Matthew Wilson, with a backup story by Vita Ayala and Alitha E. Martinez and Matthew Wilson.
Man-Thing tells Hulk that Aldous is coming. However, Hulk is not interested, so Man-Thing uses Charlie's plight to get Hulk's help. Aldous ends up offering a way out to Bruce, and he says he'll come calling soon. Meanwhile, in the backup story, Power Man and Hulk fight, and it's actually quite sad and yet enjoyable. It's a great backup story. Travel Foreman's art kind of gave a horror vibe to Incredible Hulk this week, as I kind of felt like he was wearing a Michael Myers mask or maybe the Kane mask from professional wrestling, but that did not detract from the story at all. Incredible Hulk number 5 is an 8 out of 10.
Local Man number 6, written by Tim Seeley and Tony Fleeks, with art in Farmington by Tony Fleeks and Brad Simpson, and third gen art by Tim Seeley and Felipe Sobrero.
Jack is attacked by #TheTruth while he's in Inga's diner, and Inga is contacted by our investors who want the future forum that's about to come to Farmington to run without a hitch. A bright student is found dead, and Brian asks Jack to help investigate, but will that bring Jack to Inga? Meanwhile, this week the backup story actually shows what Inga did, or kind of what happened to her once Jack left for third gen. The second arc picks up smartly on the heels of the first arc, and they do a good job of continuing to build, expand the world, make everything more connected, more real, more organic. Local Man number 6 is another 8 out of 10.
Scarlet Witch number 9, written by Steve Orlando with art by Lorenzo Tometa, Sarah Pichelli, and Frank William, and a backup story written by Juan Ponce, Iguara, and Triona Farrell.
Wanda invites Joseph along for a week of solving problems, as she is the Scarlet Witch. However, Quicksilver still doesn't really trust him. And for good reason, as Joseph finally gets the magic stone and he wields it into a blade and cuts Wanda, allowing the Hex Finder to come through the red door. And in our backup story, back in the past when Wanda was the librarian for Strange Academy, her and Ava Quintero, the cover art girl here, end up battling a demon that's trapped in a book. The other shoe finally drops in this issue as Joseph helps Hexfinder, and Hexfinder finally makes her move. Now, I think there's only going to be 10 issues of this series, as it's going to go into Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. But if issue 10 is the end, then this journey's been great. Scarlet Witch number 9 is an 8 out of 10.
Last but not least is Deadpool Batter Blood number 5. Last but not least because Deadpool Batter Blood is over. Deadpool Batter Blood, written by Rob Liefeld and Chad Bowers, with art by Rob Liefeld, Corey Hampshire, Chance Wolfe, and J. David Ramos. Do not buy this book.
Or at least not if you want a nuanced or good or funny or entertaining story, because this is essentially Michael Bay's Deadpool. It's bigger, it's louder, it's got a lot of gray backgrounds with a lot of splash pages throughout, but holy shit did I find this story stupid. Now guys, I don't want to go in too hard on comic books and comic book creators because they are doing their best. They're putting their work out there, their art, their story, all that stuff. However, when there's hundreds of comics coming out each and every week, these are the books we need to avoid because these are the bad ones. These are the ones we don't want. These are the ones that you pick up thinking you're going to get something that's quality, and you get tricked into thinking maybe after the number 1 there's something there, and there isn't. They're coming out with Cable First Contact in 2024. Absolutely no way will I return to this creative team if this is the style that they're going to do. Honestly, Deadpool Batter Blood number 5, Deadpool Batter Blood in general, is a 4 out of 10. The art is redeemable occasionally, and that's about it. Also this week, Spider-Gwen Shadow Clones is coming out. Now, the final issue came out on July 19th, and I reviewed the entire series then. Let's check it out. Spider-Gwen Shadow Clones is over. In this series, Ghost Spider actually battles the Sinister Six of Earth 616 at the start of the series. She actually manages to defeat them, but a rogue vulture bomb goes off and kills citizen scientist Lee Bennett. Months later, clones of the Sinister Six and Gwen Stacy start showing up and attacking Ghost Spider. Gwen does her best to try to convince the clones to work with her, but Dr. Lila Bennett has created a machine in which she intends to wipe all Gwen Stacy's from the existence of the multiverse. Ghost Spider manages to get Sandgwen and Gwenok on her side, and Sandgwen and Gwenok actually team up to save Ghost Spider from the clutches of Dr. Lila Bennett. Ends up sacrificing herself in order to save Ghost Spider. And in the end, while all the Gwens are successful, Dr. Lila Bennett does end up getting away. Gwenok dies, and all of the Spider clones, or the Gwen clones, end up going their own separate ways. I absolutely really enjoyed this series by the end of it. It starts off super cliched, but cliches can work if you nail the character arcs and the characters' actions within the story. And this creative team absolutely nailed those characters and their actions. I love Spider-Gwen, aka Ghost Spider, and while I wasn't a fan at the start of this series ended up being a very worthy Spider-Gwen series. I'd give it an 8 out of 10. Go find all the issues. There's some cool variants, including a bunch of clone versions of Gwen on the covers. So go check it out. 8 out of 10, or grab the Spider-Gwen Shadow Clones trade paperback when it comes out this fall. Looks like I enjoyed the miniseries, so maybe check out that trade paperback this week. Now, guys, I gave out plenty of scores this week, especially a lot of 8s and 8.5s. It was a great week of comics. The number 1s were off the chart. There's only one I didn't like, and you know why. And it probably got rated a little worse because all the other issues were so quality this week. This Week in Entertainment as the handle for right now. The handle is going to change, so the easiest way to continue to follow us is to like, to comment, to subscribe, have it pop up in your feed, click on it, mute it, play it all the way through. I don't really care. We love your interaction. You know I am your bumbling guy, Dustin Dry. I get it wrong just as much as I get it right. I think last week I said Gar instead of Garth for Aqualad. Honestly, it's a Teen Titans mix-up. I'm sorry. That was my bad. I'm your bumbling guide. I get it wrong just as much as I get it right. I repeat that because sometimes people tend to get mad about what I say. But Columbo's saying his birthday isn't until next week, so let's fade to black and hit the music.